On my day off, I invited my mother-in-law for a walk since the weather was nice. She agreed immediately, and as we were enjoying a pleasant stroll in the neighborhood park, I received a call from my husband.
Oh my God. Mom has apparently collapsed.
What? What is he talking about? My mother-in-law is right next to me.
Yeah. So, I decided to go back home for a while.
I see. While I was puzzled, my mother-in-law smiled and said, "Keep this a secret, okay?" She said it so Adam couldn't hear, placing her finger in front of her lips.
I'll be back next Tuesday at the latest. Bye.
With that, he hurriedly hung up. What on earth is going on? A few days later, Adam came back. How is your mom doing?
Oh, she's not doing very well.
He sat on the sofa, looking serious.
We might have only a little time left with her.
I see. Since then, my mother-in-law and I have been in regular contact, preparing for various things. Unaware of this, Adam mumbled about being troubled and started fiddling with his smartphone. And then,
Will you marry me?
it's my 5th year in New York, at a 3-star restaurant I could never have imagined going to before. I was proposed to by my boyfriend whom I met here. Today is the happiest day of my life. I vowed in my heart to live with him. My name is Mary Holland. I moved to the city after my parents passed away. I've always been aware of my carefree life in the countryside. When I first arrived in New York, I was overwhelmed by the height of the buildings and the number of people, freezing in place for a while. Being a thorough country bumpkin who had never been to a city, I was often at a loss about what to do. In my hometown, locking the door when going out wasn't a habit, and it was normal to receive vegetables from a neighbor, rarely buying them myself. Even working in a company was something I had to get used to, and I made many mistakes at first.
Mary, what kind of job did you start with?
I worked as a clerk in a commercial company. There weren't many places that would hire a country girl who wasn't a new graduate. While eating the stylishly presented food, my boyfriend, my now fiancé Adam and I reminisced about the past.
Why did you switch to working at a library? Was it because of your workplace?
Well, everyone got along well enough. But the company was incredibly exploitative.
Yeah, it must be hard to tell which companies are bad when you first moved to New York.
Exactly. Back then, I didn't realize it was what people call a black company. I just thought I was being overworked, but that it was normal in the city. It's scary how you can get used to things. At that time, I was willing to work anywhere that would hire me. Having spent most of my money on moving and funeral expenses, I needed to earn quickly. Compared to my hometown, the pay was higher here and trains were frequent, so I thought I wouldn't miss the last train home. But the reality wasn't so kind. The company that finally hired me had me working from the first train in the morning to the last train at night. Lunch break was only 30 minutes, and going out during work was prohibited. I was earning money but had no time to spend it. I genuinely thought this was normal back then.
That must have been tough. Why did you decide to become a librarian?
I already had a librarian license from the university. But when I moved here, the library was too far, so I gave up. Then I decided to quit and move closer, and managed to get a job at a library.
Did something specific make you quit?
There was an old lady crouched in front of an eye clinic. I helped her to the station, but then I was late and got scolded badly. The stress of the job was taken out on me, And I was yelled at for 3 hours for things like always being late and dressing sloppily. My boss's face from that time still haunts me.
You helped someone, yet you got scolded?
Exactly, so I decided that company wasn't for me and handed in my resignation that day.
You're very proactive. I respect that. Thanks to that, we met, and I have to be grateful.
Yes, I hope that old lady is doing well. Since I changed jobs and started working at the library, my life has changed dramatically. I have proper days off and can take paid leave. The people at work are very kind and taught me everything with patience. The pay is lower than at the prior company, but I'm happy to be surrounded by books I love, feeling a great sense of fulfillment. While working in this wonderful environment, I met Adam, who was looking for a book, and we hit it off. After a few meals together, we started dating. I'm grateful to the books that brought me to Adam.
By the way, I want to tell my mom about us. Do you have any free time next Sunday?
How about next Sunday?
Okay. I'll contact my mom. She's strict, but she's not a bad person. She'll accept you, don't worry.
Thank you. Tell me what she likes, okay?
Sure, let's go buy something together. Maybe give her a recommended book as a present.
That sounds great. We continued chatting while eating the delicious food and drinking wine, maybe a bit too much. But I'll never forget the signed marriage certificate Adam gave me at the end. May these happy days continue forever. Time passed, and today was the day to visit my mother-in-law. I was nervous about meeting her for the first time. I got up earlier than usual and dressed carefully. Welcome, both of you. Thanks for coming all this way.
Thanks, Mom. This is my wife, Mary.
Nice to meet you. I'm Mary. I may be inexperienced, but I look forward to being part of the family. At the entrance stood a kind-looking woman who quickly told me to lift my head and guided us inside. After some casual chat about where I'm from and my hobbies, she suddenly asked, "So, Mary, what do you do for work?" The atmosphere changed slightly.
She works as a clerk at a library.
At a library, I see.
Is something wrong?
No, it's not bad, but... I noticed Maya's face cloud a little. I didn't expect to be questioned about my job, so my hands started sweating. I'll be honest, Mary. New York is a bit expensive, isn't it? I'm worried about the financial aspect. Do you really want to keep that job? She said this apologetically but sharply. I understood her concern. Thinking about the future, it's natural to want a daughter-in-law who earns a lot. But I answered firmly. Yes, I don't intend to change it. I felt that if I didn't convey my thoughts to Maya now, I would never be able to call her my mother-in-law. I was scared, but I believed Adam's mother would eventually accept me. So, I responded confidently. I used to work for a horrible company, but I changed jobs and became a librarian. I believe this job, which makes people happy through books, is truly fulfilling. I've never had such a rewarding job before.
That's right, Mom. Mary and I met at the library where she works. Books brought us together. I earn enough money, so you don't have to worry.
Adam also agrees with my opinion and supports me. I'm very proud of this job. If we ever run short on money, I'm willing to take on part-time work or whatever it takes. That's how much I want to continue this job. I spoke my mind with a slightly firm tone, but I expressed my current thoughts boldly. Maya had a difficult expression but nodded deeply. I see, Mary. I raised Adam on my own after losing my husband. I can't let go easily. So, I want you to prove gradually that you are a respectable person. Of course, Maya. I responded loudly with a smile. The tension that had filled the room suddenly eased, and normal conversation began. Finally, both Adam and I relaxed our shoulders and felt relieved. The more we talked, the more it became clear that Maya was a family-oriented person. Although she lives in the neighboring prefecture and won't be living with us, I decided to build a good relationship with her. 15 years later, as promised, I still visit my mother-in-law's house regularly. At first, she seemed strict, but each time I brought her a book, she joyfully shared her thoughts on it. Eventually, we started holding regular tea parties and book discussions. For a book lover like me, it was the perfect break and a great way to bond with my mother-in-law, killing two birds with one stone. I have to thank Adam for suggesting I recommend books to her. However, I haven't been able to talk much with Adam recently. At first, our married life was like a dream come true. Adam, kind and considerate, was the ideal husband who helped me forget the loneliness of losing my parents. He helped with the housework and even surprised me with bouquets on special occasions. Every day was filled with happiness, but in the past few years, that happiness has faded. It's only natural that the initial excitement would wear off after many years, but Adam's sloppiness has become more noticeable. He used to help with the laundry, but now he leaves it to me. He doesn't even put his clothes in the washing machine anymore, and his socks are always inside out. When I point this out, he complains, "It's a hassle. If you don't like it, do it yourself." He stopped cleaning up after himself, ignored the doctor's advice about his diet, and started criticizing the healthy meals I made for him. Hey, Adam. Don't you think you're being a bit cold? Today, too, I sighed at the leftover food on his plate. The menu was designed to address his iron and calcium deficiencies. He used to compliment me on my cooking.
Is that so?
You're coming home late and leaving your meals unfinished.
What are you trying to say?
Do you think of me as a servant or something? I lowered my voice a bit and asked. In the early days, he used to say that it was natural for a married couple to share housework, but now he does nothing. If I didn't make dinner, he would get angry and leave. The stress of doing housework while trying to keep Adam happy was building up. I've had enough.
I don't think of you like that.
Then what about your recent behavior? I'm not just a convenient woman.
You think I see you that way? I'm disappointed. I thought I was showing you love, but if you don't see it, fine.
Love? I don't feel any of it.
You should be grateful for my salary, allowing us to live in this nice house. Stop complaining.
With that, Adam went back to his room. I knelt on the spot, taking deep breaths to calm the rising emotions. Such incidents had become a daily occurrence. Whenever I pointed out something, he would twist the conversation to make it seem like I was at fault. We no longer shared the same bed. I swallowed the words "it's painful" that were about to escape my throat and began cleaning up the leftover food. I wished that my feelings would wash away with the running water. A few days later. It's a weekday, but the library is closed, so I have the day off. The weather is nice, so I decided to visit my mother-in-law and invite her for a walk. She readily agreed. and as we walked through a nearby park, enjoying the pleasant sunlight, I received a call from Adam.
It's terrible, Mary. Mom has collapsed.
What? What is Adam talking about? She is right here next to me.
Yeah, so I'm going to stay at her house for a while to keep an eye on her.
I see. While I was confused, my mother-in-law smiled and said, "Keep it a secret that I'm here." She put her index finger to her lips, signaling me to be quiet. I almost let out a sound of surprise.
Mary, you don't need to worry. I'll take care of it. You don't need to call or anything. It might stress Mom out.
Okay. But don't you have work?
Mom's emergency takes priority. Of course, I'm taking time off.
When will you be back?
I'll be back by Tuesday night. Bye.
With that, Adam hurriedly ended the call. I gripped my smartphone and stared at the ground. My mother-in-law gently held my hand. "I'm sorry, Mary. Leave the rest to me." My heart was pounding loudly, but her words calmed me down a bit, and I went home as she instructed. After that, my mother-in-law and I kept in touch regularly and started making various preparations. On Tuesday night, as promised, Adam came home.
I'm back.
Welcome back. How is your mom?
Not too good. I'll need to visit her occasionally, so I might not be home often.
Really? That serious? Adam sat on the sofa with a grave expression. I exaggerated my surprise.
Yeah, I want to cherish the remaining time with her. Do you understand?
Of course. Actually, I'll go too.
No, I want it to be just the two of us. It's our last bit of parent-child time. And remember, Mom didn't think highly of you at first.
That's... My voice trembled. Adam muttered, "What a bother," and picked up his smartphone. Unable to hold it in anymore, I clutched my stomach and burst out laughing. Haha, Adam, you're the best.
Ha! What's wrong with you, Mary? How can you laugh when my mother is critically ill?
He threw his smartphone aside and approached me with an angry face. I stopped him with my hand and opened the door to the adjacent room. Who's critically ill?
Ha! Mom! Why?
My mother-in-law herself appeared. Adam was so shocked that his face turned pale. On the contrary, my mother-in-law approached Adam with a fierce expression. "What have you been doing this past week?"
What?
As you can see, I'm perfectly healthy. What were you doing?
That is...
Adam averted his eyes and hesitated. Of course, he couldn't lie anymore with his perfectly healthy mother standing in front of him.
Mary, did you call her? I told you not to because it would stress her out.
Unable to find any excuse, Adam turned his anger towards me. But with the upper hand, I wasn't afraid. "Adam, when you called, I was on a walk with my mother-in-law." I showed Adam my chat history with my mother-in-law. It clearly showed our conversation when I invited her for a walk on the library's day off, and she gladly accepted. So, it was obvious from the start that you were lying.
But why? You two weren't that close. At first, she complained about your low salary.
That was just to test Mary.
Ha!
Despite what I said, Mary kept bringing me recommended books and inviting me out. unlike you, who never visited. My mother-in-law spoke with an exasperated tone, and Adam tried to argue.
I didn't know. Why didn't you tell me?
I tried at first, but you stopped listening. Initially, I had no intention of hiding it, but Adam's refusal to communicate had backfired on him. If he had known about our good relationship, this wouldn't have happened. Adam looked down in frustration. His smartphone vibrated, but he was too exhausted to care. Do you remember when I told you about helping an old lady in front of an eye clinic while I was working at a company? That was the trigger for my career change.
I think I remember.
That was me. The world is a small place, isn't it? Yes, this was the most significant event that brought me closer to my mother-in-law. While reminiscing about the past during a tea party, she suddenly exclaimed loudly, "That was me." She opened her eyes wide, looking surprised. At that time, she was suffering from a complex eye disease and had come to the city for surgery. However, after the operation, she got lost and was in despair when someone called out to her. Due to the postoperative eye drops, her vision was still blurry, so she couldn't see the person's face. Therefore, she didn't recognize me by my face, but she became certain after hearing my story. I'm so happy to have met the person who helped me again. Thanks to that, we've become very close. I was too exhausted at that time to remember faces properly, so I didn't realize it. I've been wondering if you made it home safely ever since. Thanks to you, I did. Although now my son seems to think I look like a patient who doesn't have long to live. Maybe you should be the one getting eye surgery next time. Adam usually tries to assert dominance over me, but he seems to stand no chance against his real mother. He opened his mouth, seemingly wanting to say something, but no sound came out. Then, the door leading to the adjacent room opened again, and I heard a woman's voice calling Adam.
Ha, Iona.
Good evening, it's been since yesterday. Iona smiled sadly and faced Adam. She was slightly younger than me, with a well-defined face, a delicate frame, and a floral dress that suited her well. Seeing her slightly trembling shoulders evoked a protective instinct. I could somewhat understand why Adam fell for her.
Why are you here, Iona?
When I got home after we said goodbye yesterday, these people were there. They told me everything. You're married, aren't you?
How did you?
I hired a detective agency to investigate everything over the past week. A week ago, right after I hung up the phone with Adam, my mother-in-law sent me home and went straight to the detective agency. She didn't care about the cost and urgently requested an investigation into her son's affair. As a result, evidence was quickly gathered, and they identified Iona's home and made contact. Adam, you got along well with my parents, didn't you? They are very angry, and of course, so am I. I brought them here today to settle things. According to the investigation, Iona worked at a client company, and she told us they fell in love at first sight. She hadn't known Adam was married, and if she had, she never would have dated him. Her parents, who had been considering marriage, were furious upon learning the truth about Adam. They sincerely apologized to me, despite not being at fault, which made me feel both guilty and even angrier at Adam. That's why I apologized to the three of them and suggested they come here today. So, Adam, your affair is completely exposed. I'll give you my lawyer's contact information later. You'll go through them from now on.
How do you plan to live without me? Prices have skyrocketed compared to before. You can't survive on your salary alone.
Adam glared at me, half defiantly. My mother-in-law stepped in to block Adam's view of me. Actually, I've started something new. With that, she showed Adam a screen on her smartphone.
What is this?
Recently, I started investing in real estate. It's been extremely profitable. The money spent on the detective agency didn't hurt at all. The screen showed a rate graph. My mother-in-law, who had been studying investment, had succeeded greatly in these investments. Of course, I also helped by applying what I learned from university and my favorite books. We were likely earning far more than Adam's salary now. So, you don't need to worry about our money. You should be more concerned about your own financial situation, as you'll soon be paying alimony and living a poor life.
What? Alimony, you're joking, right?
No, it's only natural since you had an affair. You'll be paying for both me and Iona. Adam, looking deflated, suddenly seemed to get an idea, grinning smugly as he pointed at me.
Ha! Too bad, Mary. I have my mother's inheritance. Sure, I'll pay the alimony, but I'll be back to my old life in no time.
How did you end up so foolish? Seeing Adam's triumphant declaration, my mother-in-law looked exasperated and held her head. I felt the same.
Mom, it's a major crisis for your precious son. Please.
Adam, you are indeed my precious son. But I never raised you to do such inhumane things.
What?
I'm disowning you. From now on, live on your own.
No way. What about the inheritance?
I'm giving it to Mary. I couldn't help but exclaim in surprise. I knew she was considering disowning him, but she had never mentioned the inheritance. I was overwhelmed with joy, as someone who lost her parents, to be valued so much. Mary, would you like to become my real daughter? Those words made me feel a rush of warmth. They were words I had longed to hear. I've been lonely since my parents died. Are you sure? Of course. Let's take care of each other from now on. My mother-in-law, no, my mother opened her arms toward me, and I jumped in without hesitation. Ah, the warmth of a mother after so long. Today might be the worst day of my life, but it's also the best day of my life. Seeing us, Adam yelled, "That's a lie," in anger.
So, Mary, this was your plan all along. You got close to me for my mother's inheritance and deceived her.
Adam turned red with rage, but I calmly replied, "You reap what you sow." I felt a weight lift off my shoulders. From now on, I would live freely with my mother. By the way, this has been buzzing non-stop. Iona handed Adam his vibrating smartphone. As Adam answered it in frustration, a man's angry voice shouted, "You're fired."
Trouble with a client. Marriage fraud. This must be a mistake.
A pale Adam desperately tried to explain but was cut off. He stood there helplessly, with only a smiling Iona in front of him.
Iona, you're on my side, right?
Adam reached out to her like praying to a god, but she brushed him off. Adam, I once married a terrible man and got divorced. I truly thought I could be happy this time.
Iona.
But you were the same. I reported it to the company. Goodbye. With that, Iona headed for the door, and my mother followed. I handed the completed divorce papers to Adam and left the house. After that, Adam surprisingly agreed to the divorce easily. We received alimony, and my mother and I moved to an apartment to avoid Adam's intrusion. According to rumors, Adam struggled to find a new job. We had spread his bad reputation, making it difficult for him to get another job in the same industry. He was probably living a poor life by now. Good morning, Mom. Good morning, Mary. It's such a nice day. Shall we have a picnic at that big park today? Sounds great. Let's make some sandwiches and bring them. I lived peacefully with my mother in our apartment. We went to the library to study real estate investment together, spent weekends going out, sharing book reviews, and enjoying a leisurely time. Our investments continued to succeed, and my mother's savings kept growing. Spending time with my beloved books and my beloved mother, I was happy. How did you like this story? Please subscribe to our channel. See you in the next video.